Hey guys, it's Ethan. I'm going to play another 15-10. As you can see. My opponent, Medan 19 from Canada. We're going to play e4. If you can't tell, my rapid rating has taken a hit. I went through a slouch, I guess is what you would call it. Definitely not a fair challenge. Usually I wouldn't take this just because I'm going to lose 17 more points if I lose to the 13-20 here. So not a fair trade-off. Win 7, lose 17. Probably shouldn't have played, but we'll see what we get. He might not even play. He's got 15 seconds. Maybe he feels bad for me. Wants to give me a minute on edge on the clock. No, it's supported. Okay. Well, let's try and find a new one. Nate Scott. 1487. King's Pawn. We go for Carcon. Probably just go with the Sicilian though. Open, I would presume. Not now, but yeah, it looks like it's going to be open. Go ahead and pre-move that. If he plays, and he does, so an open Sicilian it is. Well, let's just go 6. I like to usually go with the hyper-accelerated dragon, but sometimes run into problems with shorter time controls after knight captures, pawn recaptures, queen comes here, bishop here, or not bishop there, that loses, sorry. Knight here, pushes, moves here, castles, or not castles, what is it? I don't even remember. Knight back, I think. Or no, it's F6. Either way, it's just messy. You can already tell by the way I'm running through it. So let's just play d6. Why not? I mean, generally this is bad to capture this anyway, but again, even through all my analysis and what the computer says, people still do it. I mean, it's obviously best just to recapture, but I mean, I guess it's not that big of a mistake to really capitalize on, but white loses their advantage in the opening, so I guess we'll just either look for that or this. I mean, the only problem I have is this wild a4, or f4, sorry. If I come here, f4, generally that means they want to castle queenside, and queenside castling on Sicilian positions is dicey for black, to say the least. So yeah, why not? Let's just play g6 and see what he does. I guess on f4 I can actually just play this and hit the knight. That just to kind of, I would make it easier, I guess, for myself if I'm so fearful of him castling queenside and getting this huge attack with these pawns just storming down the board. I could just play this, and he's kind of forced to capture, and I could swap queens, and life's good. Who cares? I'll be playing with an isolated pawn in that line, because if he plays f4 here, chop, chop, and then the knight has to move, assuming he captures. I capture with check, and he'll probably capture with the knight. Yeah, so I considered that, but I don't like that variation. It just seems a little bland. But I am happy to see my opponent clear the space on the king side. If he does capture, I will capture with the pawn. I'm not gonna swap pieces to no end. Yeah, the Najdorf. But since I already played g6, usually you have, in an open Sicilian, you have the Najdorf or the dragon. And there's a whole bunch of other variations, but those are the two very basic ones. We'll just put a double attack on this guy, hit twice. Most likely he'll play something. Captures, okay. I like my position. I've played this a lot. This position where they go ahead and swap, and I get to promote my B pawn to a nice C pawn. My B pawn enjoys that. I'm not sure what I'll do with his bishop. It's entirely possible that he just glues it there and says, if you move that pawn, I'm trading, which is fine. The whole idea, I guess, for me keeping this guy, which is my bad bishop anyway, is more or less just to keep some more pieces on board here. Though I'd be willing to bet that actually capturing with the bishop is considered better now that I think about it with the b pawn here. Because if he doesn't want to trade the bishop and he moves here, then I guess there's actually a tactical line where I win a pawn and I double his pawns. But you have to be careful. It's not recommended to go into a dragon Sicilian, meaning you play g6 and fianchetto your bishop and just give it up. Because if there are dark squared bishops around, I mean, you can see here, you know, it just, these dark squares right around your king become very sensitive. And your nice home that you're trying to create more or less becomes a nice tomb. Although usually a common maneuver with this knight is actually to post it up here. So the bishop is a little out of place, maybe. You could certainly argue that. Okay. Could try prep d5 or something. Or I could just... We're going to castle. Mostly because another thematic thing in the Sicilian defense is for black or white to go ahead and try and trade off this dark square bishop with their battery. And had I played like something like this and allowed him to make his battery before I castled, I wouldn't have the chance to preserve my bishop. Which doesn't matter anyway. So I suppose I have to come up with a plan now, don't I? I don't see anything wrong with this. If I ever play this, that knight creeping into there gets chopped, assuming he takes with the bishop. We trade. I feel like this is just a good place for my bishop, and queen c7 kind of prepares that. So we're gonna stick with that. I suppose another thing to look for would just be to create a battery here, although I will have to move this old boy. Well, the queen. Queen's hanging. Okay. Suppose this. I mean, it's a little ambitious, but assuming he takes. D5 is one of these ideas in the Sicilian. Apparently, if you can play it, you're doing good, and I can see a way to play it. Only problem is it kind of makes my bishop sad for a little bit. I mean, once I get established with this, these pawns are gone. I mean, I'm not too worried about it. I don't think. But also just makes a lot of sense to just go ahead and double up with rooks. You know, so you might give that a whirl. Just go after this b pawn, just for the sake of playing a quick move. I'll keep this in mind. This poor bishop. I changed my mind. I said I didn't really mind if I played play for this idea. My poor trapped bishop once this pawn's gone, but looking over here, I mean, what's his job? He's the master of waiting for this guy to move here so he can trade, or this knight. You know, just doesn't. Okay, I'm already semi-tempted to just launch that at him. The only problem is I will have to play this in order to support it one more time. But it will get the job done. So maybe I play that. Or I can just play this. Pawn gets a little crazy, but that's a trapped bishop. Yeah, okay, so yeah, here it's kind of a quiet move, and he has ways out of it. I mean, obviously. I mean, he can plant his knight here, which I'm going to take, I would figure, but I'm gonna go for this. I'm gonna be tricky. Can I find an excuse why I wouldn't take that knight? No, not really. I mean, it's hitting my queen, so I either have to move the queen, which I like the queen, especially if I capture and he realizes that he either has to play something or face c4 and the bishop being trapped. If he comes here, I can just offer the trade, which looks like it's going to happen. Okay. I'm also on b2 twice now, so it's if he does trade and my queen, you know, you can see being here becomes problematic for him, I think. Okay, so he saw that. I might just, well, I can prod him to take and then try for it. Or I can take, invite his queen in. gross. Probably not. We'll probably just problem with that is this. Well, if I double up, not really. Because then if he takes, yeah, he's under some scrutiny, so maybe it's okay. Rook here. Maybe I should just play this. And it kind of discourages this idea anyway. But I'm a gambler at heart, and by golly, can't say no. I think it's a solid plan. Easy to parry, multitude of ways to just protect that guy, but for now, I think it'll suffice. Well, actually, even if I double up, do I have sacking ideas? Is that 12, 15 for 15? 15 for 15. But I get 6. I get 16, sorry, because of the capture. So actually, if my opponent plays nothing moves and allows me to double and then hands me back the initiative without a huge change in scenery here, I will most certainly be sacking. I guess that's also the problem with his F4 plan. Okay. Well, I am going to be frank and just say that I don't think that one works. Let's see, double. Say I just retrograde. I'm threatening to push. Yeah, so I think I'll just move forward with my plan. That guy doesn't bother me. I wish I could just throw that in there, but he does have a pretty good grip over that. Okay, and the queen comes up and says, let me at him. So I believe this is in order, but it might lead to some potential pin problems, maybe. Maybe. But I don't see anything better, and I'm a little bit behind on the clock. Time management is huge. We're not really at a critical position yet, so I don't want to be, stuck here. Well, I guess I can't play that because, yeah, that's a problem. Okay, new plan. I guess if necessary, I play this to get his bishop out of here. Okay, so we can still play it with a little prep, with a little more prep. So e6. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about earlier. Or white will often try to get this battery and try and trade you bishops or something crazy, and if you haven't vacated your rook here, you'll be down the exchange if you play bishop h8. And sometimes you can't play bishop f6 because your wonderful knight is in the way. Here I'm not so sure that this is actually better. I really don't know. All my pieces are really committed over here. So this is my ultimate defender. So I'm just going to back off with it. As planned. E6 coming next. He doesn't really have enough pressure here. And if he tries to reply to, like, okay, let's say for whatever reason my opponent doubles, even though it's defended twice, I can still play this, and if he tries to crack it open by adding a pawn, I can just push. I'm not too worried about that. However, bishop here, pawn doesn't even work because my bishop snags it, but bishop here, though, if he's doubled, and I play this, he swings his bishop on back, which he's not going to do. But now I can play this. So I will. Yeah, that I forgot that his bishop was the sole reason I couldn't move this pawn. So, oh, let's just, oh, the really depressing noises that you just heard fouling out of my mouth was because I thought I didn't parry this without looking. Ladies and gentlemen, my plan formulated perfectly with his. I thought I was stewed there. I really did. I thought he was just going to play queen takes f7 mate. Thankfully, that's not happening today. No, not today, because we live in a great world where a pawn's dream to land on c4 will be realized, with some serious complications heading your way. This bishop moves, takes, oof. Yeah, we're getting some real greasy pressure here, as I would like to call it. So, ooh yeah. Yeah, I'm liking that. That bishop is under fire. He may have to retrograde with his queen. Check. Infiltration ideas. Yeah, let's snag our pawn while we can, because also that leaves this pawn loose, which is vital. I mean, my pawn's already on c4, let alone if I scoop up c3. However, I got options. I got checks. Interesting. He's going to opt for the old double attack. But, I mean, as I pointed out earlier, this pawn's hanging, so you can trade once. But is that really good for me? I don't know. So let's just picture bishop and rook. Queen is a little bit hard to defend with. I guess check here after he blocks with his bishop or something. So just play it for the sake of time. I'm almost even on time now. I'm up 2 pawns. Do have to be a little weary of my bishop ever leaving this diagonal. A real quiet move of the queen up could lead to a disastrous mate. So it's not real likely that I will just be volunteering my bishop for some expedition. Okay, but he he volunteers to... Should I go for more space? Just with a quick couple of jabs? It's kind of annoying. It really, really solidifies my rook. And one great chess video I watched, said if you're in a winning position and you know you are, which 2 pawns is fairly winning, he said don't force it, and I think a5 is just it's not exactly like a real forceful move. It's not real loud, doesn't cause a lot of disruption. So it's an option. And like my pawn structure here, I think we'll go for that just for the sake of getting a move out there. And it's a plan, Some plan is better than no plan. Absolutely. Maybe the poorest plan you ever heard, but by golly, we got a plan. I suppose I could get greedy, actually, and grab that pawn. That was another plan. So greed, grab. Kind of hard to get his bishop to get to mine, so maybe nothing crazy, but that's worth looking into. Maybe I overlooked that one, but it's okay. I suppose I could try and prod his bishop to leave this diagonal by playing it to here, getting him to capture. On captures, I would almost guarantee he meets it with queen takes bishop. So now he's up 6. I'm going to be up 6, though, because of the rook, but it's the classic 2 pieces for X. 2 pieces for a rook. I wouldn't exactly call that winning. If I remember, you're supposed to grab the 2 pieces. It's more ideal. But how do I make progress here? Maybe I lunge. I mean, that looks pretty solid. Lunge forward, threaten this, threaten that. Yeah, let's go for that. I'm real surprised to see he hasn't even just traded 1 rook and tried to remaneuver his bishop. I mean, even if it's somewhere horrid, like, just an ugly looking move, that's just really something to me that he hasn't tried to do anything. So yeah, I figured I'd have to support it. I didn't figure he'd give it to me. So let's try this. Okay, okay, so he might be no, he can't dislodge my bishop, sorry. Crazy thoughts. Pawn controls these squares, kind of hard to dislodge this bishop with this one still sitting in front of the queen. So, okay. Worst fears have been realized. And I think, yeah, once I get this in, if I get it here, I think I'm pretty well set. I guess he's got the 2 pieces on it, so he could technically win a pawn. The only way to support it would be to come over. Yeah, I'm walking into a pin, but, I mean, is it really that bad? I guess you could seek to trade the bishop, too. You could seek a seek a bishop trade. After his rook comes here, probably takes, bishop takes, and then I pin his rook, and the queen has to come to the aid. Yeah, so I'm not. Can I just take that? Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna take that because I don't see what's wrong. And we're getting down to the 4-minute mark here, so I mean, I'm up 3 pawns. I'm not really sure if any of these trades really favor me. Like, you know, actually swapping a rook. I mean, this bishop's not doing anything. If anything, it's more of a bother to him than it is to me. Okay, he's going to go ahead and do something here. Probably block. Good thing I can take with check. Okay, but that's not his plan, is it? Do I just solidify my structure then? With my crazy pawns? Really don't know. I could push. That's annoying. It's really annoying. Yeah, and he has to stay on that file. And then I could offer a trade. Yeah, that might be the way forward. Yeah, because he's not even threatening to take here. So let's just push this guy. I realize it's kind of cramping my I don't know, rook, I guess. He's just very committed. And my bishop, very committed. But, I mean, what I see he almost has to play here. I guess he could play there if he really wanted to, but I mean, he leaves the light squares pretty vulnerable, you know, so I don't see that happening. Because he'll never move again now. I mean, he's just straight up pinned. I mean, I guess he could move it, try and hit the queen, but I'd actually win, well, I don't know, win something out of that. Yeah, okay, so here we go. So what did I talk about? I talked about offering him a trade here. And that doesn't hang this pawn because blasting through with the queen doesn't do any good. So let's keep the time pressure on him, Ethan. How about that? Yeah, blasting through doesn't work. Queen can't really sneak anywhere. Yeah, okay. And I mean, I got a pawn way in his territory. And I don't see any tricks to trap my rook. You're probably looking at bishop c1 right now. And you're like, that's a trapped rook. But it's not. You know, I capture his queen. He's pretty well forced to recapture the queen or else whatever. Plus checks and all kinds of things. Yeah, and one day I might go after the a3 pawn. His a pawn is weak. You know, once I solidify. Yeah, okay, wait. Let me make sure. If I capture with this, does that work? Yes. Okay, so captures bishop here. Okay, we're square. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep, not falling for any tricks today. Okay, so now I would figure the general plan is really simple. Depending on, I don't have much of a vote in it right now. He has some pretty forcing moves that he could play. He could, hit my rook. He could, just kind of be a bother, yeah, and he's going to go for it. So, yeah, this is what I was just making sure of real quick. Make sure I'm still good. My awesome bishop here. And as soon as I can, I'll get my other passed pawn up here to support it. My connected passes are going to win the day. I mean, I'm up 3 pawns. It's really tough for him to, just prove anything to me. I mean, I can push it right now and hit his rook, and I can step, and it's untouchable for his bishop. The only problem is his king's a lot closer, so in the walk, he will probably be able to pick it up if it goes to a light square. So not a fan. Yeah, I'm thinking about just playing this, covering that. I really can't contest the file, which is what I'd really like to do, but if his rook leaves, it's going to get real cramped for his bishop very soon, because after this, forced to leave, this, you can see the theme here. It's just going to be a push to victory. And the only reason I want to cover b1 is I don't want him to just be sneaky, play this, and then I get excited with my pawn, hit his rook, and then bam, I get mated, or something. That wouldn't be fun. Okay, I do have an edge on the clock. There's a 10-second increment, so shouldn't be anything crazy. You got to play till mate, up 3 pawns, and before you know it, you'll be down 7. So, well, that's a pretty dandy move, I reckon. So, can I just play this and push it through? Go up the piece? I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one. Let's just make sure his bishop knows that he can't ever leave. And that might help me. I think. I don't know. I don't want to walk into a pin. That's bad. Can't play this. But it works. It works. I think in like one move. So I'm not scared of that, I don't think, because I can just play this. And at that point, he can resign because I win the bishop. Because he has to grab this pawn. If he doesn't, and he tries to back off, then I can even sack the bishop. And well, maybe, maybe not. Maybe not sack the bishop, but I can definitely think about that. So he's going to give me the thought. Oh, gosh. Yeah, okay, we're going to play it. Okay, because this is, I think, what I missed. So I can play this as a follow-up. Maybe. It's not the greatest follow-up, I guess. Yeah, that's not happening, pal. Yeah, so I think he's going to resign after this. Now I think it's game. I think that was just a blunder. Yeah, rook c7. Well, okay, maybe he's not lost, but... Well, hang on. Let me try to figure out the most... Well, let's just keep it simple. Yes, keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, so rook grabs, I promote, and we trade. Okay. Maybe I didn't convert that the best. Okay, well that definitely wasn't the best. Yeah, so after I create a nice light squared route for my baby, yeah, I'm not concerned. Grab that pawn. Really? Really? Okay, well this move makes a lot of sense. That's how you want to play it. Same colored bishop endgame principle is to lock your opponent's pawn on a square that they can't reach, or that you can reach, they can't. So mine's on a light square. Obviously, his light square bishop can't do anything. I'm gonna pick this guy up, and we'll see. The rest should be rather historical. I'm creating a nice box here. The only way into my bishop is that way. Meanwhile, my king is going to be making some progress here in the center. He has his option to come back to the light squares, which is probably correct. Not really going to comment. I'm not at all geared for that. Okay, so I think the winning idea here is to break down, press once, retreat bishop, push pawn. That is pretty solid, because unless he can't remaneuver his bishop to any one of these squares to cover the queening square for my outside pass pawn, which is extremely valuable. Which means after a quick here, he has to stop it somehow, and his bishop obviously can't cover the light squared ailments in his position, so I think I'll just do a little dance here, maybe. I don't see, does he have a push that can ruin me? Doesn't look like it. That'll be being played next, I figure. Maybe the boot first. I might boot his king first. Either way, his king is going to have to drift over here to stop this guy, and my king is just going to sneak in and eat everything. Yeah. Okay. I might even have a simpler plan. We're going to go for this right now. So, probably just going to prop it up. Give his bishop a boot. Inch closer to that awesome queening square. Let's give the bishop a boot. Access to his pawns. Okay, and he resigns. It was a good game. Let's say good game too. Oof. Okay, well, let's not look at that. Let's do some analysis first. Go this off. Okay. Alright. So, book. How do I shut that off? Self-analysis. There we go. Okay. Yep. This is all good. Standard theory. Not sure about that one. Probably best is knight f6. Doesn't really matter. I don't figure. Okay. Yeah. So I don't disagree with this move because the c pawn was kind of a focal point of this game, but in all retrospect, it was probably better to play this and just get rid of his bishop, his light squared bishop. Then again, that light squared bishop, when it was sitting on its awesome home on c2 for half that game, I'm gonna agree and just keep it as b takes. I think that was huge deal with this game was that c pawn. I think this stuff's all good. Okay, rook b1's probably good, maybe even the best move. Just really, he's kind of already playing passively. I mean, unless he's going for his, queenside pawn storm, majority attack, whatever. Okay, I can see it, but he's protecting something because he doesn't want me to hang a pawn or lose my queen. You know what I mean? Like, it just, prophylactic moves are good, but I don't know about in this situation. So I disagree with his plan so far. Queen c7. I think this is just a good move. Connects the rooks, protects my pawn. So see, he could have went for like the dreaded f4. Even in these kingside castling positions, white often plays, e4, f4, and starts looking to break down this structure, kick my knight around, just, and he's already done this. And so rather than me waste my time and be like, well, I'm going to win a pawn, and then he throws his pawn duo at me, breaks down my king structure, and I'm like, I got that pawn though. Just, pawns are great, not that great. So, not a fan. Yeah, so here we go with my plan. Yeah, f3, probably okay. I bet the computer wants you to play f4. I'm gonna go ahead and just place my money on that. Alright. Yeah. Okay. c5, okay. Good plan. Pretty clear plan. But I described what was wrong with this. Knight comes in, takes, and then the bishop comes in, and I have to block and seek an exchange. Although the benefit is, it's a big threat. Certainly is a big threat if he misses just a simple, quick c4. Quick little c4. And there's a numerous amount of ways to parry it. He can obviously do that. He can do this. He can do a whole plethora of things to just prevent it. But it's a big threat and it needs to be addressed. And he addressed it the way we mentioned earlier. I think this is all good. We have a little standoff. Okay, so he protects his pawn. Not a big deal, I don't think. Yeah, so in theory, I think doubling the rooks is the plan. However, rook b6, I don't feel is the plan. Just because as in the game I got lucky that he forgot he was x-raying this pawn and he got ambitious and tried to trade, and I was like, nope, and then he did not retreat right back to keep this guy pinned. So I think probably rook b7 was better, even though that looks weird too. It looks really weird just walking into a bishop pin, like, okay, so now my bishop's pinned. What if I don't want to trade anymore? I give up the rook. But I think this is where my bishop belongs. I think. I mean, this is a good diagonal. I mean, maybe not the best with this nice pawn chain here, but when his bishop is occupying it, mine should. So I think, whoa, I think, where is it? I think rook b6 was not the best. And I don't think that was the best either, going right back. I think he should have left the tension. There was nothing wrong with the tension. I feel if he played that, he'd be fine. Because still welcoming me to capture. Because if I ever capture, his queen now has a nice central position on the central 4 squares, one of them. And, you know, okay, my rook still swings over and starts to look scary. But, I mean, maybe you concede with your queen, maybe you drop back. I mean, you can do anything. But I don't think, I mean, just giving me a target for a pawn lunge, you know, is a good idea. So don't agree with that. Although it took me some maneuvering to get, especially with a pinned pawn and all kinds of nonsense. Yeah. So I think if he would have played Queen D2 earlier instead of wasting this move with the bishop going here and then back, I think it would have been better. So yeah. So what was that? Oh yeah, it was clearing way for my bishop or my queen to now look directly at my pawn to push it. Although it was right here that I realized I'm still pinned, so I'm gonna have to do some prep work. You know, maybe bring back and really kind of have to untangle here. You know, to try and support that. Probably wouldn't have worked, but thankfully my opponent played bishop h6, which I don't agree with. Usually, thematically, yes, it's a good idea, especially if I don't capture and I don't do anything. But I figure right here I probably still had c4. I bet I missed this best move. I bet best move was c4. Because after takes and takes, he has to recapture because he can't save his bishop. I mean, he can, but I win a pawn out of it. So I bet I missed best move c4. I bet. That's probably one of the retries over here. Anyways, let's move forward. Probably the computer's probably not a huge fan of my idea of preserving the dark squared bishop, but I think it proved useful, the pressure along that file. I liked this move. When I looked at it, this was all I saw. I was like, okay, that's smart. He's lining it up, you know, for if this pawn ever flinches, I just drop my queen. And then with a little more analysis after I had already played my move, c4, thank God, I realized that he was bearing down for mate. So, I liked it at first sight, just looking at this. I was like, okay, that's a decent move. But I see what he played it for, and with that in mind, I don't like that move because c4 is too easy of a reply. That's what I've been planning this whole time. So, all in all, I'm going to say that's probably like an inaccuracy or a mistake because right here, the momentum is just in my favor. Yeah. Not a huge fan of the queen going all the way back, especially when it hung that pawn. Poor guy. This is when I start my pawn march, I think. Yeah, so the computer's not going to agree with me here. The computer's going to probably tell me I'm stupid, and that's fine. Definitely, best move was probably just to go ahead and play this and swap the rooks and go up 4 pawns instead of getting all wild with my A pawn and just launching it down the board because I had nothing better to do and I couldn't see how to crack the position and I didn't want to force it. So it's whatever though. There were still a lot of pieces on the board and very quickly could have turned against me. Like this plan. Big fan of this plan, I think. Rook there, good. Gotta support this. Yeah, pressing, don't think that was good. I mean, it just hung the pawn. Got my bishop far away from the action, so there was no trickery, nothing. I mean, there wasn't anyway, but now there's really no trickery. The bishops, it is a long-range piece, so bishops are meant to sit way back and support pieces and, do crazy things like that. They're not meant to be up here in the fray, I mean, just really close up there. You know how it goes. Long-range pieces. But, okay, nonetheless, this is what we had. Okay, so I like how I played this. I'm up 3 pawns. His rook certainly got a little active. I mean, this was all forced. I think he did about what he could. Big fan of this move. I mean, it does the job. He has threats still. The game's not over. Like that move. And I think this is where it gets dicey. I think this is where it just becomes a little unclear because I prod him. Yeah, so right here, everything that I saw was rook takes, pawn takes, and now I'm threatening to queen. So he has to come back, and then there's just this, I don't know, overload of pressure. And his bishop, I mean, he's not going to take. I mean, I don't know about how he played it. Yeah, especially after just trading rooks. I mean, I think you got to come up with something. I mean, I take the bishop, make me queen, get rid of your bishop, captures here, and then you're fighting with a rook, and you can even pick up this guy, and then I just have, I think that's probably how he should have played it instead of just going and agreeing to trade off. I think that was a bad call. And then here, I mean, if you're going to take a pawn, I figure. I mean, especially if you, or go ahead and lock this guy in on a dark square. Okay, this guy's not going anywhere. Yeah, go ahead and lock mine in on a dark square. I didn't think of it earlier because the last thing I want is his king coming in to like here. So I'm not going to harp on him too much for playing that. But, I mean, once I'm already there, I'm there, So I'm here, you're not getting in here. What are we doing here? I think what he should have done is just go ahead and lock it up, snag the pawn, and try and hold with the pressure on this guy. And maybe I can creep over there faster than he can and snag up this pawn, or not that pawn, this pawn if he does lock it up. And I can promote for a win, but I mean, I think that would be more accurate than he just kind of seemed a little lost here. Yeah, see, he ends up scooping up the pawn anyway. The difference is now I have an outside past a pawn with a barricade over here. I mean, he's not getting through this. He can't even remaneuver his bishop because it just gets smoked. And I mean, I'm crushing at this point. I don't think there's much to... Yeah, there's not much to talk about here. Yeah. I mean, same sad story. Your bishop, you can try and get over here to pester me, but I'm just going to creep in and push and mate. So, yeah, you come here, I come here. If you don't give up the bishop, then I come here. And now you have to because it's mate. So, this is, I mean, it's completely lost, but yeah, I mean, it was a good gig. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna try to do these. What did I say? Yeah, C4 best move. Yeah, So c4 best move, just like I said. If takes and take, or sorry, if takes and takes, he has to recapture, and I come here and get, what is that? 2 pieces. I get pieces. Yeah, that's a big one. So c4. Yeah. As I said, good thing I saw that. Makes me feel a little bit better. So I played rook captures. Oh. The reason I didn't want to play bishop captures is because I thought this traps, but it's hung. So bishop captures is best. Okay. I didn't even see that in the analysis. Yeah, I was fearful that he would control all these squares and that I would be trapped, so I figured I had to capture. Okay, but I see why that was better, though, capturing like this, because it leaves me with the initiative. He has to defend his piece somehow. Not like that. He has to defend his piece as opposed to me, in the other variation where I brought my rook back. He then pinned me, kind of. I had to come back to defend. His rook got activity. Yeah, so he found the best continuation and kind of punished me there. So, kudos to him. See, so I played c2. I bet it still just wants me to play this anyway right now. Yeah. And I think I may have mentioned that in my personal analysis. I'm not sure. Yeah, because rook captures doesn't work to captures here. Well, that wouldn't be right. There I would go here. Yeah, because then he'd have to eventually ball up and I could activate my king or something. Let's turn off self-analysis and turn on all the goodies. Just run through it real quick and see how bad I did. I mean, good. Okay. Book. Books is good. Books is good. Read books, children. Whoa, we got issues. Okay, yeah, so, yeah, g6, it prefers e5. I'm pretty sure I knew that. I just really like to give it some dragon flavor. Yeah, bishop e5, good. Not a horrible move. Best, okay. Okay, so it didn't care about either one of those. Okay, it likes b takes. I like b takes. Like that. Okay, so I didn't really have any complaints about his move, but the computer does, kind of. He's played a lot of good moves, not a lot of best moves. Knight g4. My inaccuracy here. So it says I went from having an advantage to losing it. And that's probably because that's why this was a good move and not a best move. That's why I wanted him to play this instead of this. Because I control every single one of these squares with knight to g4. So it says it's best to just play h3 to take away that option. Because then if I played knight g4, you'd have to waste a stupid move like retreating or something. Okay, that's interesting. Alright. Okay, f3 is best. Still says knight g4. Yeah. Yeah. Still a good move though. Queen c7 is good. Big fan. Okay. What was this? h3 was best. Okay, so now it doesn't like f3 so much. Rook a to d8 is better. Interesting. Okay. Rook fb8 is good though. It's not the best. Okay, he had his pick of the moves there. I didn't really agree with that move all that much, but I guess I really did try and force this to work. Okay, c5, a5, both would have been good. Queen to d3 was best. b3, yeah, see, that was another thing I thought he should do. Instead of trying to create this semi-pawn chain against my bishop, was just to leave this pawn at home and play with this. But I guess he felt necessary to play that. Not a big deal. Whoa, what happened? Okay. But all in all, I think it was a good game. A couple inaccuracies, yeah. So that was a blunder, yeah. I'm sure there were plenty of those. Yep. Alright, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good day.